Right into it here on the Specumetrix NFL Kickoff Show. Specumetrix Sunday Kickoff Show. I'm in a crappy mood. Can I just share that straight off the top? I'm here wearing my UW shirt, and the Huskies lost a terrible, awful, boring, awful, terrible, boring game to a nothing team, pretty much dooming their chances of getting into a decent shot at the college playoff game. So I'm just bad mood all the way around. And then Specumetrix has really been crappy in terms of the picks the last 2 weeks. I mean, we had a great opening couple weeks to the season, and ever since then, just like the Raiders, we've been a dumpster fire. So what happens today is the question.
Hi, Lou.
Hey, how are you, Jeremy?
I'm doing better than you are, my friend.
Do you see the big black cloud over my head that's following me around? I'm the only person getting rained on right now. This is the way it is right now. But you know what? The thing is, it's been so bad. The past couple of weeks, it's got to get better, right? I mean, life can't suck forever, right?
For who?
Well,
just in general?
In general, for me. I mean, it can't be this bad forever. I mean, my fantasy football team is a mash unit. The Specumetrix picks have been terrible the past couple of weeks. The Raiders have dropped 3 games in a row. Could possibly be 4. A lot of people don't like them in this game at all today against the Chargers. And the Chargers always give us fits. I'm very worried this is going to be a terrible day. All right. So let's go straight to the picks for what they're worth. Whatever I say, you should probably do the opposite.
You're in a great mood to get people fired up and excited and ready for football Sunday.
Absolutely. I'm so excited I could just – well, at least the food's going to be good. I got the great Mediterranean spread going at my house today, along with, got a great stuffed pork loin and Mediterranean chicken wings and all sorts of great things. So
I'll do my best to bring the happy, joy to the show this
yeah,
morning.
could you do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so right to the Specumetrix recommended picks of the week. Of course, right after I said we would not pick Thursday night or foreign games, Specumetrix team insisted on picking the Thursday night game.
Just tell them to stop that.
And they said the Eagles would cover. The Eagles were a 3-point dog and won outright. So, like I'm saying, whatever I'm saying to do the opposite. I fought with the team. I said, I don't want to pick Thursday night games. This is Wednesday afternoon. We're having our conference call. I hate that pick. I don't want it even listed. And they overruled me and went ahead and listed it anyway, and I was wrong and they were right, so maybe nobody should listen to me. Lions and the Saints. I have liked the Lions all year. They were one of my surprise teams to make the playoffs. Everything was going well, and then the last couple of weeks, they've just been snake bit. They go in. They are a 4-point dog, in some places 5. So they're getting 4 to 5 points. They're playing the Drew Brees Saints in the Superdome. Detroit has something of a defense. The Saints really aren't very good on that side of the ball. Stafford's a little dinged up. This is why I think he has a great game and scores 40 points for me in fantasy and saves my season. And the Lions are going to cover +4 against the Saints. The Ravens just beat the Raiders. I don't know. I think you throw that game out. E.J. Manuel was at quarterback. The Raiders' whole team looked discombobulated and uninterested, just like they did against Washington. Hoping they don't look that way again today. The Ravens, not looking very good this season, except when they played the Raiders. Of course, the Raiders are making every quarterback look like the second coming of Peyton Manning and Tom Brady combined, if they both had baby children together and somehow mixed their DNA. So, I don't know. But the Bears are getting 7 points against the Ravens. So we are going to go ahead and say Specumetrix says take the Bears +7 against the Ravens. Vikings and Packers. The Vikings are getting 3.5. They're playing the Packers. Aaron Rodgers. Oh, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, he's so wonderful. He's the best. We love Aaron Rodgers. Shut up.
You're the only person in the world who doesn't think that Aaron Rodgers is a good quarterback.
Now, he's good. He's good. He's good. He's not, the guy wins meaningless games. He is the Jose Canseco of football. What if it's a meaningless game, he wins. How many Super Bowls does he have? 1?
1.
How many years has he been in the league? 12? 14?
Something like that.
Something like that, right? I mean, so I don't understand. I don't understand the freak out love for Aaron Rodgers. Anyway, the Vikings are beat up. They have a better defense. Green Bay is getting some players back. It's a division game. Don't we always say that? Division game?
You never know with the division game, especially what was that guy saying on the radio a couple weeks ago? What was he calling it?
Oh, it's the Northern Division Collision.
There you go. Northern Division
It's
Collision.
the Northern Division Collision.
So that's what this one is, I guess.
All right, so we're going to take the 3.5 points that our Packers are giving away, and we're going to say take the Vikings here. The Buccaneers play the Cardinals, who now boast the 3 oldest players in the league at important positions.
Yeah, you want to talk a little NFL news if you didn't catch it. They traded Adrian Peterson from the Saints over to the Arizona Cardinals. So now they're big 3.
Who was predicting that? Jeremy and Lou.
Yeah, I mean, they're big 3 now. You've got Fitzgerald,
Who's like
Peterson,
90.
and Palmer. I think their combined ages is like 102 or something.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That. So, a lot of people think because of what happened with the Saints, AP doesn't have anything left. I say we haven't seen enough. This guy needs a game where he gets the ball 20, 25 times to see if he still has any of the AP magic left.
And how about every time you put him in the game, it isn't a run up the middle? You notice that with the Saints? Whenever he was in the game, they handed the ball to him and he ran it up the middle.
Yeah, they knew exactly what was going to happen every time on defense.
Yeah. Oh, Adrian Peterson's in the game. Oh, they're going to hand it off to him. He's going to run up the middle. I mean, who does that?
No, he's going to be the starter here. He's going to get his carries. We're going to see if he's got anything left for that team.
Yeah, I think this team has to hand him the ball 20 times and see what he's got.
He's excited about being there. I know that. He said it was like a dream come true this season.
He said he prayed about it.
Yeah, to get out of New Orleans. So we'll
I don't know if you. I don't understand praying to not be a saint, but that's just me. Nobody gets
He
me.
wanted to fly. He wanted
Nobody
to be a bird.
gets me. Anyway, so Buccaneers are going to cover against the Cardinals is our prediction. The Cardinals are getting 1 point. I think Jameis 5-cent head Winston has a good game, and we're going to go ahead and go with Specumetrix here and say, yeah, we'll take the Buccaneers against the Cardinals to win outright. Broncos and Giants. Okay, this was 9.5 points when it opened. Some places it's up to 12.5. The Giants getting 10 to 12.5 points. 9.5 is the open against the Broncos. The computer says the Giants are going to cover.
1 minute.
Yeah. The Giants have nothing at receiver. They've got nothing at running back.
No,
Eli's look terrible. Their offensive line is awful.
This looks bad.
This looks awful. Oh, and Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie
He's out. He's suspended.
has been suspended from the team because he walked out on a meeting with the coach, which was a disciplinary meeting. McAdoo's lost the locker room. He's lost the team. This is a dumpster fire. He needs to be fired.
He needs to lose that mustache.
No, he needs to be fired. If I'm the Giants, I fire him mid-season. He's lost. He's useless.
This is sort of starting to look like a situation where the whole thing needs to be blown up and started over.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I have the Giants with the 3rd overall draft pick in my mock draft already, drafting a quarterback if they can. All right, so Broncos and Giants. The computer Specumetrix says Giants and the points. I say not so fast. All right, those are your picks. So one time we got the Lions, we've got the Eagles, we've got the Bears, we've got the Vikings, we've got the Buccaneers, and the computer has the Giants. I say no. We're gone. Be right back right after this.
We'll be right back with more 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. Thirty seconds. Okay, here we go, guys. 10 seconds.
.com. That's SECURESERV44 at gmail.com. Let Secure Serve be your next step. SecureServe44 at gmail.com.
Listen up, Raider Nation. It's time for Raider Talk on the Specumetrix Sunday Kickoff.
Go Raiders!
Oakland Raiders, Oakland Raiders, Oakland Raiders. Just win, baby, win, baby, win, baby, win, baby. Don't need no invitation.
Do you like how I worked Xander's voice into that?
I do, actually. That very, very nicely done. All right, so the Raiders are 5-0 coming off the big win against the Ravens last week, and they're, of course, the coming out party for Marshawn Lynch on Sunday Night Football, where we just destroyed the Redskins, and, of course, it was a close-fought game against the Denver Broncos, but pulled that one out as well after winning the first two games of the season. That's how it was supposed to go.
Yeah, I never expected us to do it quite like that, though.
That's how it was supposed to go. The Raiders were a sexy outsider pick to go to the Super Bowl against the Dallas Cowboys. Remember those days? Remember back in preseason? That was people talking about that?
Well, that's why preseason talk.
Raiders, Cowboys, Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things always change from year to year in the NFL. You never know.
And as it stands right now, neither the Raiders nor the Cowboys would be in the playoffs. Neither one.
Both sitting at 2-3, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
both sitting at 2-3. The Cowboys have a much-needed bye this week, and the Raiders get the Chargers, who just got their first win after looking like a dumpster fire most of the season. And, of course, they beat the Giants and pretty much ended McAdoo's coaching career and potentially really just damaged the future performance of what could have been one of the greatest receivers in history. I think that injury is devastating. That kind of broken ankle, that close to when that bone gets broken right on top of where it meets the joint in the foot, that is a bad place to get a broken bone. And oftentimes, that injury, I'm just worried. I'm worried about the future of Odell Beckham Jr. as far as whether that's going to cost him a step and what it's going to mean. I have no confidence in the Raiders going into this game today. None.
Well, I mean, if you're going to find some positives, we're going to hope that Derek Carr is healthy, and he will be starting today. Hey, if he's coming back that quick, it feels like he can play.
It's either that or desperation.
Let's hope that it's not that he's actually ready to play. That the offense can get clicking again. We've got some offensive line issues they need to fix. Amari Cooper needs to find the ball and actually catch it.
Donald Penn needs to maybe block somebody. Did you see how badly he missed a block? He took 2 steps back in pass protection, left a giant hole to the inside, and allowed a sack on E.J. Manuel last week that I just was scratching my head like, why are you blocking air? How about blocking the guy that's rushing your – I mean, I don't get it. He looks terrible.
Well, he sat out most of the preseason and all.
Thanks for that,
camp.
Donald Penn.
And that's what happens. I mean, sometimes it takes a little while for these guys to get back in.
And then he got his money
and get caught up.
And then he got his money.
And he got his money. But the Chargers are not playing well. They're 1-4. It's a division game. You never know. We're at home in Oakland. Derek Carr is coming back. You got to hope that they can pick it up a little bit in this game.
You see, the Raiders fans were throwing things at Raider players' cars as they were leaving last week.
Well,
Donald Penn got into a shouting match with a couple of fans because they threw something at his car. Security had to intervene.
well, that's fans being idiots. Just because your team loses doesn't give you the right or the place to attack them and throw things at them.
I don't know.
It's a football game. They get paid to play, yes, but it doesn't give fans the right to
But
go beyond watching the
it
game
shows
and cheering and booing.
I'm just saying it shows you the level of frustration that the Oakland fan base. There were big expectations this year, and the Raiders are not meeting them. Not close.
You know, in my mind, it's still early enough in the season to turn things around and pick things up, and perhaps a new middle linebacker. for the
Navarro
team.
Bowman, yes.
Yes, if you hadn't heard, Navarro Bowman released by the 49ers on Friday.
He was about to be traded to the Saints, but that fell through at the last minute for some reason.
Yeah, for whatever reason that didn't happen. So they released him. And, of course, even though he's lost a step and
He's not going to cover anybody.
he's definitely garnering some interest around the NFL, and there is mutual interest between himself and the Raiders.
He will be at the Raiders facility later today, is my understanding,
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
for a visit.
He's going to go visit, and he
Probably walk out with a contract would be my guess.
Yeah, it's partway through the season. He's already in the Bay Area. Why
Kids
move
are in
away?
school.
Yeah, why move away from the Bay Area? If
Right.
the other team across the Bay wants you, bring him in. He can only help, especially with
He
our
was a
rookie going
great
down.
player for the 49ers for the last 8 years. I'm kind of surprised that, but I understand. Here's the thing. Here's what gives me hope that he may actually be decent. Is the 49ers are basically going through a youth movement. They are trying to basically change over the roster, and they're going with younger guys. That was the decision that they made. That's why Bowman came to them and asked for a trade, because he feels he can still play, and he wants to go contribute somewhere, and they weren't going to play him. They were going to play the younger guys. So he says, okay, get me out of here, get me traded somewhere. If he can stop the run, if he can help call the defense, if he can calm that down a little bit, great. But, just like me in fantasy football, where just the injuries have just been devastating to the places where I couldn't afford to have the injuries, the Raiders were not great at cornerback, and that's where the injury bug struck, is in the back end.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Connolly, who's been dealing with the shin splint issue this whole time. He's going to the doctor on Tuesday, I guess. Amerson's been in and out with concussion issues. Our fourth string guy has been in and out. Sean Smith just not playing well. Obi is still on IR, so he hasn't had any time.
Obi
at safety.
Melifonwu.
So yeah, no, it's been a bit of a struggle back there, and they signed somebody during the week.
Yeah, I know. I love
Yeah,
that. They
somebody.
signed somebody. I don't know, some guy. He played for the Jaguars, I think, whoever he was. Yeah, the Raiders signed an emergency cornerback.
Yeah,
By the way,
he's basically
I love
a
the
warm
guy.
body.
Yeah, I love the guy's confidence. He says, I get compared a lot to Richard Sherman.
Well, he
Yeah,
came
and
from Seattle. That's
I
right.
get compared to Benicio del Toro all the time.
He
just
didn't
saying.
say he got compared. He said he got confused because of body type and look. I guess he's like the same height, same hair, same weight. Yeah, I don't know. But it doesn't mean he plays like
Daniel
Sherman.
Craig and I get confused a lot.
If he played like Sherman,
Happens all the time.
he
I'm out at
wouldn't
a
be-
restaurant in the Inland Empire. People walk up. Are you Daniel Craig? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't happen much. Anyway, just saying. All right, so the Raiders and the Chargers have played some very interesting games over the years. Of course, one of the most famous endings of all time is the Holy Roller play, which happened between the Raiders and the Chargers. I just hope. Here's my thing. Don't suck. How about that? Or as my father would say, and I'll leave out the swear words, can you at least pretend you have an idea that you know what you're doing? That's how I feel about it. Jeremy? Can somebody pull me out of my deep, dark hole here? I see nothing to be hopeful about today.
Well, I don't know. There's always hope, Lou. The games are played for a reason, so there's always hope.
So we were having a discussion on the way here of what the problem is.
I'm trying to find this kid's name. I can't. Who they signed here?
All right, yeah. Well, apparently the internet doesn't care either. So you and I on the discussion down here, and I said this when we hired Jack Del Rio from the beginning, and here's my concern. I think Jack Del Rio is a good rah-rah guy. I think he's good with the media. He's good with the players. He looks like an NFL coach should look. I'm not convinced that he can scheme along with the likes of Bill Belichick and Andy Reid and some of the higher-end coaches in the league. I'm not sure he's that guy. And I can tell you for sure, Ken Norton, our defensive coordinator, is not that guy. This is season 3, right? With Ken Norton?
Yes, season 3 now.
What has been consistent all 3 seasons with Ken Norton? The defense sucks. All 3 seasons with Ken Norton, the defense sucks.
Yeah.
They have gotten better players. They have upgraded at every position, and the defense still sucks. What's his name? The guy that's like 100 years old who's the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys?
Oh.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. You're right. He's about 100 years old.
He went to the Cowboys. Seriously, he's like 88, something like that. He went to the Cowboys, and guess what?
Phillips.
Is Wade Phillips there now?
No, he's with the Rams.
He's with the Rams. No, it's anyway.
Yeah.
Here's the point, and I'm glad that our producer mentioned Wade Phillips because Wade Phillips did the same thing with the Rams. Went to the Rams, all of a sudden the Rams defense gets better.
1 minute, guys.
Older guy goes to the Cowboys, all of a sudden the Cowboys defense gets better.
Rod Marinelli.
Marinelli. Marinelli with some meat sauce sounds good right now, just saying. He sounds like a tasty Italian meat dish. Yeah. The thing that's consistent with Ken Norton is the defense sucks while he's the coordinator, and he's had 3 years to get it right, and he hasn't. Is it time for him to go? Jeremy?
I think so.
Yeah.
It was an experiment. It hasn't worked out. Maybe,
Maybe he's a good linebackers coach.
Yeah, maybe you send him back somewhere to coach linebackers. Maybe you keep him on as a linebackers coach if he's willing to take a step back with the organization. I don't know. But I think it's time to get someone who's done it before, a veteran defensive coordinator.
And it's got to be an attractive job, especially with the move to Vegas. I mean, it's got to be an attractive job to somebody who knows what they're doing.
If nothing else, someone's got to look at that and go, okay, look, they do have some young
They
talented.
got Khalil Mack. They got
a few young talented players.
UCLA.
Yeah. They got, working
all right.
with Khalil.
Prediction.
Someone's going to want to do it.
Raiders lose. All right. So we will be back. It's fantasy football time when we come back.
We'll be right back with
1 minute, guys. 1 minute. Thirty seconds. Okay, here we go, guys.
Easer is your last mile solution. That's geteaser.com.
Listen up, you armchair quarterbacks. It's time for the Easer Fantasy Moves of the Week. Visit geteaser.com. Now here are your hosts, Lou and Jeremy.
All right, it's time for fantasy football. Yay. So excited.
You are just
My season's,
anti-NFL and anti-football today.
my season's going so well.
Did you realize you're hosting a football talk show?
Yeah, I know. It shouldn't be all about me. I hope everybody else is having great fantasy football seasons, because I'm not.
I hope everybody's having better football seasons overall
Yeah.
than lose so far.
Yeah. Specumetrix has been terrible the past couple of weeks. I've lost all 4 of my starting draft picks. How is that even possible? How can one guy lose his top 4 picks to injury? Well, I had to trade one.
It happens.
I had to trade one away. Yeah. I had pick number 1, Odell Beckham. Pick number 2, Dalvin Cook. Pick number 3, Des Bryant, who I had to trade to get a tight end and another receiver. And my 4th pick was Greg Olsen. So, yeah. Thanks for that.
It's a tough season.
Hey, what do you think about Latavius Murray today? Do you think he's going to get the carries still, or do you think that younger guy, McKinnon, I think it is going to...
They're not. He's not all that much younger. They're actually about the same age, I think. They've been in the league around the same amount of time. I think they're going to split carries. One of the issues is Latavius is still not 100% after his off-season surgery. He's well enough to play and get some carries in, obviously.
Oh, no wonder he's on my team. He's injured.
Well, you know, I had to start him in another league this week, just as the way things played out. So I'm hoping for the best. Maybe at least a touchdown. You know, they might at least get him near the goal line if McKinnon carries it in between the 20s. We might see Latavius in the red zone. But I don't know what he's going to do. He has not looked all that explosive or healthy when he has carried the ball this season. McKinnon has looked better. But, you know, they did pay some decent money to Latavius to bring him over, so they might want to see what they can
Which
get
at the
out of him.
time, what did I say? You're overpaying for him because he's not very good. And, well...
Yeah, I mean, he's had some good games. He can score touchdowns.
I had to pick it.
obviously,
The only
but
reason I had to pick him up is because Dalvin Cook got injured, and I had to handcuff him. So there you go.
That's the only reason I picked him up as well. That's why anybody has him on a team right now, because it looked like he'd be the guy and not McKinnon. But there you go. Looks like McKinnon will probably be the better pickup in fantasy, probably the better start today. But if you have to play him, go ahead and stick Latavius in there, because they're going to have to split carries and try to get that running game going.
Yeah, I've got Amir Abdullah going. I've got James White. Those are my 2 running backs. I don't think either one of them I would replace with Murray.
No, you're good with where you are. Like I said, start Murray if you absolutely have to. I had to choose between starting Latavius Murray or Marquise Lee for Jacksonville. So
Yeah.
I did what I had to do.
Kind of a crap decision either way.
Yeah, there's a few guys that are
Who's
looking at
injured? Who's starting?
Yeah,
What should we do?
Looking at the inactive list today, there are some guys you want to make sure you take out of your lineup, if you even had them in there. First game we'll look at is the Bears and the Ravens. Marcus Wheaton for Chicago is inactive. Nobody was starting him anyway. Over on the other side, Baltimore, they've got a couple of their starting guys out on offense. Jeremy Maclin is inactive. Terrence West, the running back, also inactive going into the game this morning. Looking at the Browns and the Texans, not a whole lot there that you're going to be missing out on, although be aware Kenny Britt is inactive, will not be playing today in case you had him as your number 3 or 4 wide receiver. Packers and Vikings, that's the first one we covered a little bit. We know who's out there as far as Bradford. He's not playing again today, and neither is Stephon Diggs. The wide receiver is inactive.
he's not playing either.
So, that could be a tough sledding for the offense there in Minnesota today. They might need to rely on that running game a bit. So, those two running backs could be possibilities for you in the flex. Lions and Saints, the rookie Kenny Golladay still inactive and out. He will not be playing. Stafford, there was a little worry about him earlier in the week, but he is active and good to go, so no worries there heading into the game this morning. Another guy that people were wondering about going into the game today for the Saints, Willie Snead, is active and should be making his season debut after being dinged up and suspended. So Snead might be a possibility for you this week. Devontae Parker, Dolphins and Falcons today. Devontae Parker is inactive, which is good news for Jarvis Landry if, Cutler can get him the ball. He's been terrible this season. So think about the fact that you cannot play Parker this week, but Landry's numbers could go up a little bit. Mohamed Sanu in Atlanta is out this week, and not anybody was really playing, but just in case, because we do have buys. You got 4 teams on a bye, so you're having to dig a little deeper for some of these guys this week. Rex Burkhead, Patriots, Jets. Rex Burkhead is out for the Patriots, and on the other side, Bilal Powell is inactive for the Jets, so you don't get to use Powell this week if you're considering doing so.
Dodge that bullet.
Some people were using him because he was getting the carries there. And the other morning game, the Niners and the Redskins, there's really nobody on either side as far as offense goes that you would need to worry about today.
Why would somebody start Carson Palmer instead of Ben Roethlisberger?
Maybe because Ben hasn't played well. Matchup.
Kansas City,
yeah. Who Arizona's playing who?
Tampa Bay.
Yes. I might play.
I'd go Roethlisberger.
I don't know. That's a tough decision, right? It's unfortunate that someone has to choose between those two quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's the person I'm playing, so I'm like, oh, good, you're starting Carson Palmer. That makes me happy. I think Roethlisberger would be better. But I'm meh.
Again,
what do you do, Jeremy? You're the fantasy football guru here. What do you do when your team is just decimated? I mean, there's no cure, right? I mean, that's the problem with season-long fantasy football is you get bit by injuries, you're just done.
I mean, really, you've got to play the waiver wire. You got to, you might have to stream some guys. Go in there and pick up the receiver for, like in our league, where it doesn't cost you money or anything like that. No.
You got to play matchups all
season. You might just have to play matchups all season. We do allow, if your league allows trades, you have to make some trades if you can. I mean, you did what you had to do this week. You moved.
I gave up Des Bryant because I needed to get a decent tight end, and I could get Will Fuller in return. Des, one of the things that's really important, I'm teaching a class on executive decision-making and leadership at La Sierra University this semester. And the unit that I've got coming up is leadership in crisis. One of the things that leaders who fail tend to do is when they've made a bad decision, rather than at some point reversing course and telling everybody, hey, I made a bad decision, we got to do something else here, they double down and refuse to admit that they made a mistake, and that leads to absolute disaster.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to cut bait at some point if you've made a mistake. And so, this is the position you get pushed into is, well, I may not, under normal circumstances, would I trade Des Bryant for Will Fuller and a tight end? No. But Des Bryant hasn't been playing well.
And he still had the name value, and someone took him off.
And somebody wanted him off my hands.
And honestly, I mean,
I think I did better in that trade.
I think you did. Who was your tight end? Who did you get in that one?
Austin Safarian-Jenkins. He's
Yeah,
at least a starter
Yeah,
who
he's a
scores
starter.
8 to 10 points.
And, Will Fuller is a good grab at this point in the season. He's had 2 really good games. He's not going to score 2 touchdowns every week.
Right, but the Texans are going to have to score a ton of points now because their defense is going to suck.
And Deshaun Watson is putting up touchdowns and putting up yards and points. The kid's playing spectacular.
Are we out of time?
Just about. So let's wrap this up.
All right, it's Specumetrix NFL show. We'll be right back. Specumetrix Sunday kickoff right back right after this. Someday I'll get that right. Maybe when we're done.
One minute, guys. 1 minute. Thirty seconds. Okay, here we go.
Fast, run your business. Loan Doctor can be reached at 909-230-0024 or evaldez at theloandoctor.loans.
Let's take a look at all of Sunday's action with the latest news and notes on the Specumetrix Kickoff Sunday with Lou and Jeremy.
All right, Specumetrix Kickoff Sunday, last segment. It's the time where we talk about NFL news and notes, round everything up for you, talk about the games that are going to be most compelling this week. Actually, a couple of early games that really should be compelling and a great afternoon slate. The battle for first place in the AFC East takes place this morning between the Patriots and the Jets, who are both, if you can believe it, tied with the Bills for first place in the AFC West. But I believe the Bills have a bye week.
Yeah, the Bills are on a bye.
So whoever wins this game is going to be 4-2. Jeremy, do the Jets have a chance of beating the Patriots?
No.
Okay, good to know.
No, I mean, you've got to look at who the Jets have beat and how they got where
Have they beaten anybody?
No, I mean, well, it depends on how you look at things. I mean, they beat the Jaguars, who have been up and down this season. Who else did they? I forget who else they beat.
Let's
so
go
far.
take a look, shall
we? You're gonna have to go look at their previous.
I
schedule.
am actually. They lost to the Bills 21-12. They lost to the Raiders 45-20. They beat the Dolphins 20-6. They beat the Jaguars 23-20. They beat the Browns. So they've beat the Dolphins, the Browns, and the Jaguars. Ugh. Yeah, no, they're gonna get crushed.
Yeah, they're a very lucky.
They're a lucky 3-2.
3-2, and
Yeah.
they're going to be exposed against a legitimate 3-2 team in the Patriots.
So today, the Patriots will be firmly in charge again of first place in the AFC East. And God, they are the luckiest damn team. Could you imagine? Would you rather be in the AFC West and have the Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Broncos every season than the freaking Dolphins, Bills, and Jets? Jeez.
Yeah.
God.
Someday when Brady and Belichick move on, it'll balance itself back out. Someday.
Wouldn't it be fun to see the Patriots lose like 12 games a season for like 10 years, just like they did before?
Yeah.
I'd love that.
I don't usually wish that kind of thing on teams, but I'm so tired of the Patriots.
Yeah, I'm sick of them. I just, I want them to be buried in NFL hell for like a decade, like we were. All right, another good early tilt. Lions, Saints. The Lions got to win a damn game. I mean, they got to win this game.
Yeah.
The Packers are going to keep winning. The Lions, if they want to make the playoffs, they got to win this damn game. The Saints' defense is terrible. They have to win. And they're a 4-point dog.
Well, the Saints are coming off a bye. They're at home. I know they're not the same Saints they were a few years ago, but you still have Drew Brees and a fairly high-powered offense. This could be a tough game for the Lions. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think these two teams are probably going to put up a bunch of yards and points. This could be a 34-30 game by the end or something like that. But I can't count the Saints out. It's a game the Lions definitely should go in there and win.
At least let's be competitive, shall we? Let's keep the game close. Let's keep it exciting.
I think it will. I think it'll be a back-and-forth battle.
Packers and Vikings. The Northern Division collision takes place.
That guy was great.
That guy was hilarious. Can I just digress for just a minute because we're in the NFL news and notes segment? Why do all the morning NFL shows suck now? What happened? I miss Chris Berman, man, and those guys on ESPN. They did a professional, good NFL pregame show. The crap that is on now is terrible. Too much personality, too much glad handing, too much, aren't we clever? And too much personality profiles. I don't care what the guy does in his spare time. That he writes country music or that he's nice to old ladies or volunteers at a children's home. I don't care. I want to know the scores. I want to know the stats. I want to know what's going to give me an edge in deciding who's going to win. Can somebody do a damn football show? Can we? Just saying.
Part of the problem, Lou, I think, is because they've extended all these shows to like 3 hours now before the games.
There's not enough material.
Yeah, there's not enough material. You're going to alienate people and bore people a bit if you spend, 25 minutes on each individual game digging it. Or at least some people, the average fan, who they're trying to bring in for that 3-hour show, which is why you get all the heartwarming stories and all the personalities. It's them, just trying to extend out their programming and make some more money.
Puke. Yeah. All right, Bears-Ravens, not much of a game there. 49ers-Redskins. You get to see Kirk Cousins play against the team he'll be playing for next year. So there is some interest in that because Cousins will be a 49er, and he'll sign a 7-year deal for like $125 million is what will happen in the offseason. Dolphins-Falcons. The Falcons need to keep winning. Does Jay Cutler still really suck? Yes. Browns and Texans. God, can you feel worse for a team than the damn Houston Texans? They get the freaking hurricane that decimates the area, and then they raise all this money. It's like, the Saints with Hurricane Katrina, and the town is rallying around their hero, J.J. Watt, and what happens? Watt breaks his freaking leg.
The second year in a row he's been out. The guy's a great player, but he seems to be a bit of a China doll. Just it's fragile, easily broken.
Don't get it.
He can't stay healthy, unfortunately. And it wasn't just him. They also lost
Merciless.
Merciless.
Yeah, who's
that's a tough double
that
whammy.
that would be like the Raiders losing Khalil Mack and Bruce Irvin in the same game for the season.
Yeah.
I mean, that would you just scratch your head and go, how the hell does that even happen?
Yeah, that double whammy is almost as bad as, or not just as bad,
Giants.
but worse than the Giants' triple whammy.
Marshall, ODB,
And Sharp.
all
then
gone
two
for
of
the season.
Well, no, Sharp isn't gone for the
Oh,
season.
okay. But two of them are.
Two of them are gone for the season, yes. And when Sharp is still dinged up and hurt, he's not playing this week, I don't think. So I don't think he's gone for the season, though. He should be popping back up at some
that
point.
makes this Sunday night game compelling, doesn't it?
Ooh,
Giants, Broncos.
Get to watch Eli with no weapons and no offensive line versus
Trevor Siemian, who sucks
just
at quarterback, too.
just can't really throw the ball.
If there's 20 points on that scoreboard at the end of the game, I'll be shocked. You're going to you know what? What's the over-under on punts? That's what I want to know.
It's going to be a punt.
I'm going to
fest.
say 15.
Dang, that's a lot of punts.
15 punts. What do you say?
I don't know.
Is that a lot?
How many do the Giants have on their own?
8.
They're going to have a lot of 3 and outs.
The Giants. I'm going to say 8 or 9 punts for the Giants.
You got to give them some turnovers. You
Well-
to throw some picks. He's going to be forcing.
No, because they're just going to run the ball into the line. Is what they're going to do.
They can't even really do that.
A lot of You know what? It's going to be a unique offense for the Giants today. Quarterback sneaking up and down the field. This is what they're going to do. Hand the ball, sneak it. This is what McAdoo. McAdoo. What an idiot. Nobody's giving us a chance to win this game. We're a proud football team. You've got it so together, pal, that players are walking out on meetings with you in your office. Okay, so we talked about the morning slate. If there's anything I missed, no. Afternoon, Buccaneers, Cardinals. Hey, what does Adrian Peterson do, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the intrigue of this game. Adrian Peterson traded from the Saints earlier in the week, something we talked about, a lot of people talked about needed to happen. He ended up with the Cardinals. You got your big 3 are now all old with Peterson, Palmer, and Fitzgerald. But we'll see what he's got because they need a running game, and this is a team where Peterson's going to get handed the ball. And he needs 20 to 25 carries a game to
Slam
see what
it
he
up
can
there
do.
into the line 20 times and see what happens.
If he's got anything left in the tank at all,
We gotta find out.
We're going to see it here with the Cardinals, because they're going to use him, unlike in New Orleans. So that gives that game a little bit of intrigue.
Rams, Jaguars, 2 teams that both are either contenders or pretenders. I'm not sure.
It's tough to tell with these two. The Rams look like they had one of the better offenses, highest scoring, putting up yards, and then they just kind of put up a stinker on offense last week. The Jaguars have been up and down. One week they look great, another week they look terrible.
So both
It's really
teams
hard
are
to-
kind of a coin flip. Who knows?
Yeah, someone's going to get to 4 wins and someone's going to drop to 500 after this game.
We talked a lot about Chargers and Raiders. Steelers, Chiefs. Here's the question. Do the Steelers have any chance of beating the Chiefs at all?
I think they have a chance. You have to give them a chance just because they do have a talented team. They don't have things together right now.
It's in Arrowhead.
Yeah, but you've got talent on offense. They've got some talent on defense. They just got to bring it together. They've struggled here and there. But when you have guys like Le'Veon Bell and when you got Big Ben and you've got
The receiving talent that they have.
you have a chance. So
So you're
can't count-
saying there's a chance.
I'm saying there is a chance, but it is, in Arrowhead, it's Kansas City. They're playing well on all 3 phases of the ball. So it's going to be tough sledding for the Steelers, but you can't count them out. They are the Steelers.
We talked about the Sunday night game, Giants-Broncos. That would have been a compelling game, except
How
for
about the Monday night
Ooh,
game?
Monday night. I am
Monday
all
night.
a Twitter for this. Colts Titans.
Wow.
Woo-wee.
And Mariota, we don't even know if he's playing in that game yet. So,
That guy's made of glass too.
yeah,
That's unfortunate.
It is
He
unfortunate.
looks a little too skinny to play NFL football. For God's sake, if Andrew Luck can't stay healthy with how that guy's built, like an oak tree. By the way, my favorite player in college football I saw yesterday, I'm going to follow this guy all season, 6'4", 380-pound guard for Georgia Tech, who is a pulling guard. He runs a 4.6 40. Yikes.
Wow.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you have as great a football day as I'm going to.
Find us on Twitter, Specumetrix. Find us on Facebook. Follow the page, like us, tweet us, all that good stuff. And we'll catch you next Sunday morning. Specumetrix Sunday Kickoff. Jeremy and Lou with you. Go football.
Yeah.
Go Raiders.
Sunday Kickoff. Join us next
All right, guys. Take care. Have a great week. Drive safe.
Have a good one. We'll talk to you next weekend.
All right, drive safe, guys.
All right, thanks.